The most important thing is still COVID. In terms of corporate earnings for the next 12 months and further out, we really need to see the effectiveness of the vaccine remove the need for shutdowns. I think what's really key at the moment is the speed and the effectiveness of the vaccine rollout. We've seen the Israelis really lead the way, and other countries are still a little bit behind where they want to be. One thing that I think is key in the near term is the new strain of the virus does seem to be affecting the younger demographics a lot more than the original strain that we saw for most of the year. Now, the problem with that is it changes the need to vaccinate the elderly, say the 65s and over, and the vulnerable. It changes the need to vaccinate just them before you can maybe have an end to shutdowns, to the need to vaccinate a much larger proportion of the adult population. So I think that's a key risk at the moment that we need to see, is that the levels of hospitalization of the young people. And then just one key point on the COVID, a successful vaccine rollout is going to be fantastic, save a lot of lives, but it does bring with it interest rate risk. If we do see pent-up demand explode, and we could see near-term inflation expectations suddenly get higher, and that the Fed does need to control the yield curve and manage the volatility, particularly at the long end of the curve. And if there is a lot of selling pressure on inflation expectations spiking, the Fed might find it hard to control the 10 to the 30-year part of the curve. And that's something that we think is worth watching. So those are the two key risks for us. It's how we end the shutdowns, which is about who's ill and how much hospital service we need for different demographics. And then the other ones, obviously, once we do get out, it's going to be fantastic. But we need to look at the inflation expectations in the near term.
What does your asset allocation look like with all of that in mind then? And would you consider adding in Bitcoin? Because as we've been talking over the last hour, hitting yet another fresh record high above 35,000.
I don't personally invest in Bitcoin, but there's been some fantastic returns for those investors, and all credit to them for making money for their clients and themselves. For us at Ausbil, looking at global small caps, we are seeing corporate capital expenditure increase, and manufacturing is slowly moving back towards expanding employment in the developed world. So the prospects of the economy are fantastic, especially when people open up their economies, and hopefully the pandemic response will be some sort of a poster child as we move towards a united humanity. With more realism, a lot of that good outlook is very priced in, particularly for large cap stocks. Global large cap stocks have really outperformed global small caps over the last 3 years. So for us, in terms of allocation in the global space, really looking at global small caps